Guide to the Brooklyn MLS and NYC. We'll demystify the following topic in this video. My name is Chris at Hauseit. Hauseit is the largest assisted FSBO and buyer agent commission rebate company in NYC, established 2014. What exactly is the Brooklyn MLS? Is it related to the Real Estate Board of New York? What parts of Brooklyn does it cover? Do I need to list in the Brooklyn MLS, or is the REBNY RLS sufficient? How much does it cost to join the Brooklyn MLS? What is the Brooklyn MLS? The Brooklyn MLS is an independent multiple listing service based in the deep southern Brooklyn neighborhood of Gravesend, with coverage primarily over the neighborhoods in eastern and southern Brooklyn. The Brooklyn MLS is not affiliated with its larger New York City cousin, the REBNY RLS, which is headquartered in Midtown Manhattan, nor is it affiliated with the National Association of Realtors, from which it seceded in 2012. The Brooklyn MLS was a result of a merger in the mid-2000s between the Mid-County MLS and the South Shore MLS. The Brooklyn MLS later absorbed the Bay Ridge-Bensonhurst MLS in the summer of 2010. The Brooklyn MLS has just over 4,000 members as of the start of the new decade, in comparison to over 17,000 members for the Real Estate Board of New York. It's also important to note that, unlike most MLS organizations or REBNY, the Brooklyn MLS is a shareholder organization versus a membership organization, which we'll discuss later in this video. Is listing on the Brooklyn MLS necessary? It depends on where your property is located and whom you ask. For most New York City home sellers, listing in the predominant de facto NYC multiple listing service, the REBNY RLS, is more than sufficient for most purposes. However, the Brooklyn MLS does compete with the REBNY RLS in deep southern neighborhoods of Brooklyn, and such as Bay Ridge and Dyker Heights, and some agents will claim that the Brooklyn MLS may even be more popular than the RLS in the deep south of Brooklyn. The Brooklyn MLS is also reputed to be popular in the deep eastern reaches of the borough, such as Coney Island and East New York. However, for any Brooklyn home sellers who are in the ritzier, hipper, or more gentrified areas of the borough, typically closer to Manhattan, then the REBNY RLS will be the dominant broker database to list on. For example, much of the brownstone Brooklyn neighborhoods you'll hear about, like Boerum Hill, Clinton Hill, Park Slope, Williamsburg, and even Bed-Stuy, will be fairly solid REBNY RLS territory. How does co-broking work for the Brooklyn MLS? Unlike the Real Estate Board of New York, the Brooklyn MLS does not have rules around how much or what proportion of the total commission must be split with buyer's agents. Whereas the REBNY RLS requires commission to be split at least equally in favor of cooperating agents, i.e. buyer's agents, the Brooklyn MLS does not have a rule requiring that the buyer's agents must be treated at least equally when it comes to real estate listing agents splitting commission. The Hudson Gateway MLS, or the HG MLS, operates in the same manner, whereby listing agents only must offer buyer's agents something, even if it's just $1. So how much do Brooklyn MLS listing agents typically co-broke? From interviews with Brooklyn MLS agents and recent experiences by our partner brokers, it seems splitting the commission equally between the buyer's agent and the listing agent is nowhere near as standard as it is in REBNY territory. One Brooklyn MLS agent told us that it's extremely common or almost universal and standard to co-broke only 1% to buyer's agents. In fact, the co-broke is frequently lowered to only 0.75% by some Brooklyn MLS firms if the buyer's agent is not a Brooklyn MLS member. Sometimes the reason given for a lower co-broke is because the buyer's agent is from Manhattan and wasn't available to shake my hand. But in reality, we suspect the reason is simply because the listing broker can do whatever he or she pleases. What about total commission rates in Brooklyn MLS? Total commission rates are negotiable between the seller and the listing agent, and as everyone knows, there's no standard rule as to what commission rates must be. This is even more true in parts of Brooklyn covered by the Brooklyn MLS, where total commission rates are generally lower than that of REBNY controlled territory closer to Manhattan. Whereas 6% or 5% of total commission is commonplace in Manhattan and other REBNY held territories such as Long Island City and Riverdale, total commission rates can be 3% or lower in deep southern Brooklyn. One Brooklyn MLS agent we interviewed complained that southern Brooklyn is the horrible wild, wild west of NYC real estate, where homeowners are spoiled and don't want to pay a lot in commission, and can get away with it due to the lower density of price points. What are Brooklyn MLS fees? For for agents. Brooklyn MLS fees have been historically daunting and prohibitively expensive for new agents to join. Because the Brooklyn MLS is a shareholder organization, all initiates must invest in the organization and buy $20,000 worth of stock plus member fees in order to join. If a broker member decided to quit the Brooklyn MLS, he or she is allowed to sell his or her stock on the open market for whatever someone will pay for it. However, as a result of a desire to boost membership and a new advertising push at the end of the last decade, the Brooklyn MLS has finally allowed members to join without having to buy stock. This desire will likely be also influenced by the announcement of the merger between the HGMLS and the MLS Long Island to create the 1P MLS, which will be a supersized MLS covering everywhere from the greater Hudson Valley to all of Long Island. This new class of so-called subsidiary brokers won't have voting rights and will have a higher annual dues than full voting members. Subsidiary broker dues are $750 initiation fee, $1,500 in annual member dues, $395 per year per agent associated with the broker, and there's no requirement to buy stock to join. Full member dues are $360 in annual member dues, $180 per year per agent associated with the broker, and of course, $20,000 purchase of Brooklyn MLS stock in order to join. As an interesting side note, because of the traditionally prohibitive cost of joining the Brooklyn MLS and the resistance to having to pay for two sets of dues, the larger NYC brokerages have, for the most part, decided not to join the Brooklyn MLS. One notable exception seems to be Douglas Elliman, though it's reported by The Real Deal that they may be renegotiating due to the Brooklyn MLS demanding that all of Elliman's Brooklyn-based offices join the Brooklyn MLS. So there you have it. We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit like or subscribe. Leave us a comment below. And if you have any questions, and of course, if you're looking to buy or sell property in New York, we can help you save up to 6% on the sell side and up to 2% back when buying. My name is Chris at Hauseit, and we'll see you on the next one.